We can talk about how an author makes rhetorical choices in all kinds of ways. On the AP exam, you don't need to use every single fancy word that you can think of to show off in front of the graders. What matters is that you are clearly identifying the author's rhetorical choices and then explaining why the author employed them. One category of rhetorical choices relates to choices about structure and organization. In this video, I'm going to explain 3 specific kinds of rhetorical choices authors make as they organize their argument. The first is called juxtaposition. Juxtaposition literally means to place 2 things side by side. Authors use juxtaposition to discuss 2 contrasting ideas or opposing ideas. A speaker may choose to use juxtaposition to highlight contrasts between 2 things and invite comparisons between them. For example, an op-ed essay published in the New York Times in 2016 was titled, "To Get to Harvard, Go to Haiti?" The author, Frank Burney, is inviting you to see the obvious contrast between these 2 places. Harvard, which is the wealthiest university in the world, and Haiti, which is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Does going to serve the poorest of countries help students get into the wealthiest of colleges? This juxtaposition highlights the difference between these 2 places. In other cases, juxtaposition can highlight certain characteristics of subjects, make different subjects more alike, or challenge the typical perspective on a subject. Another rhetorical choice that relates to the structure of a work is parallelism. Parallelism is about expressing similar ideas in similar grammatical or syntactic structures. A speaker may choose to use parallel structure to emphasize that 2 or more ideas have the same level of importance, or to highlight the similarities and differences between 2 or more things. Parallelism runs throughout Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. Let's take a look at the following example. 100 years later, the life of a Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. The phrases manacles of segregation and chains of discrimination are parallel in structure, with both comprised of a noun, the word of, and then another noun. This parallelism paints a dismal image for the audience. A final rhetorical choice that relates to the structure of a work is repetition. Repetition involves repeating the same words or phrases a few times to make an idea clearer. A speaker might use repetition to emphasize a point, or to attempt to confirm a fact or idea. They could make a simple sentence sound like a dramatic one, or stress a main point of significance. Repetition often uses word associations and expresses the ideas and emotions in a direct manner. Psychologically, repetition can have a positive effect on an audience's reception and agreement with an argument, and create greater familiarity with the message, and often this leads to gradual agreement. An example of repetition can be seen in Sojourner Truth's speech, "Ain't I a Woman?" as she repeatedly poses the title question. This repetition keeps the audience focused on Truth's core message and unites her audience in thought.
And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman?
So as you write about rhetorical choices on the AP exam, pay attention to the structure and organization of the passage. Is the author using juxtaposition and placing 2 ideas side by side? Is the author creating parallel structures? If an author is repeating certain words or phrases, why is she doing that? This is what rhetorical choices are all about.